Go.
Hi everyone. Does the thought of a slice of warm homemade bread make your taste buds tingle? Do you ever think about how nice it would be to have homemade bread anytime you would like? Well, if you love bread, nothing tastes better than homemade. The enjoyment of watching it rise in the pans on the counter, the wonderful aroma while it bakes, but then finally tasting the first warm bite. Today I'm going to demonstrate just how easy it is to make homemade bread. All it takes is a little time and a little preparation. First, we're going to make the starter for the bread. You'll need active dry yeast, and not the self-rising kind, a cup of warm water. You're going to dissolve the yeast in the warm water. Then we will add 3 tablespoons of instant potato flakes and half a cup of sugar. Stir this together, and we're going to leave this set out with just lightly covered with saran wrap for 8 hours, or you can do it for overnight. When it is done, you're going to have a bubbly yeast mixture that is your starter that will be used to make the dough. So now we're ready to make our bread dough. So first we're going to take a 1/3 cup of sugar, a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, 2/3 cups or 2/3 teaspoons of salt. We're going to add some of our starter. Now this is what we made that you let sit out on the counter all night, or 8 hours at least. We're going to add 2/3 cup of the starter. And this is what actually makes your dough rise. And we're going to add to that a cup of warm water. Whisk these together. Okay, now we're ready to add our flour to make the dough. We need 4½ cups of flour. I measured out 2 cups to start with. You can add the 2 cups all at once. And whisk them together to make sure they're mixed in good with our liquids. Scraping the edge of the bowl to get all of it down in. And then you just have a really runny dough mix right now. Now we're going to add the other 2½ cups gradually. And it helps to have all this measured out ahead of time, because then it doesn't take very long. Now there is 8 hours between each step, but each step only takes possibly 1.5 to 2 minutes if you have things measured. And we add the rest of our flour. So we have a total of 4½ cups of flour. You can see that the dough is starting to get thick. Okay, and once this gets, the flour gets all mixed in, we are going to have a nice solid piece of bread dough. And then you're going to pour this into another dish that you have already greased. And you want to make sure it's big enough, because this dough is going to double in size. Okay, so you have this in the bowl that's been greased. So after you let that sit 8 hours, it's going to look like this. It's going to have doubled in size. We're now going to take this, flour your surface, put some flour on your hand, and you're going to punch down in the center of the dough. And then gather it around, and it will come out in one piece. And we're going to knead this by pulling the bread dough towards you and then pushing it away. You do this about 8 times to get the tackiness of the dough gone. And then we're going to cut the dough in half. And then you're going to take each half and you're going to knead it just a couple of times to shape it into a little bread loaf, like that. And you're going to put it in your bread pans that you have already greased ahead of time. And we'll do the other one. quickly. So now you have 2 bread loaves ready to rise. And they sit for 8 hours. When they have risen, they're going to look like this. And then we're going to be ready. We're going to put it in the oven. And when it's done baking, about 25 minutes, we're going to set the kitchen timer here for 25 minutes. And then it will come out and you'll have a nice bread loaf looking like this, nice and brown on top. You can tell it will have a hollow sound when you tap on it. It should pour easily out of your pan. And now you have homemade bread. So today I've showed you how easy it is to make homemade bread. So now you can make it at home. The recipe is so easy and versatile. You can use it to make bread, rolls, cinnamon bread. Just use your imagination and enjoy. Thank you.